What is going on, everybody? It is Frank the Tank, and welcome to the Hyroad Part 2. That is right. We are revisiting the Hyroad. That Hyroad video that I made, I think it was made, let's see here, May 30th, 2019. So that was a year and 5 or 6 months ago, somewhere like, but yeah, something like that. A year and 6 months ago, something like that. So quite a while since we last had that video put out there, and a lot has changed, obviously. In that very first video, if you look back at it, I don't even want to look back at it because of how cringy it is. But yeah, in that video, my two-handed approach was still a work in progress. My finish position at the foul line was really, really ugly looking. But I will say that that was the very first video where I actually started adding a little more arm swing into the approach, whereas I think every single video before that, I basically just like cradled the ball right there and then just threw it out onto the lane. It was so horrible to watch. But, with that video, I finally started putting a little more arm swing into the approach. And, yeah, the scores were pretty decent. I remember I averaged 205 after 3 games. Let me see here. Game 1 was a 179, which kind of in a way made sense because, like I said, at that time that I was playing, I wasn't that great, but, to be able to pick up a 204 in game 2 and a 233 in game 3 was actually not that bad. So here we are, and the approach is a whole hell of a lot better. The power, the speed, the revs, all that stuff is really a whole hell of a lot better than it was before. So I obviously expect to see some massive improvement in comparison to what I did in part 1. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and we are going to get to the lanes, and we are going to use that exact same high road that I used in that part 1 video a year and 6 months ago. So let's get to the lanes and see how we do compared to part 1.
That is your Hammer Tough spare replay. Remember this one a little later in the match.
He never quit on it, never turned his back on it. Look at this. As long as it goes down before the sweep hits, or before the rack hits it, it's good.
Okay, so there you have it. Finally, we have completed a proper review of the Hyroad. So there it is, part two. Obviously, a massive improvement as I would have expected. Yeah, so I can't remember the series that I got in part one, but as you can see in the that final results thing, how part one and part two compare. Game one, 211. Game two, I got 230. And game three, 238. So 2 games above 230, which was very, very nice to see. Almost got another 700 series. And yeah, obviously massive improvement. The series total was 679, I think, and average 226. Whereas in part one, I was only able to get 1 game above 230. Game two was only 204, and game one was sadly only 179. Like I said, though, that part one video, because of how bad I was playing at the time, it made sense that those were the scores that I got. Whereas here we are, and obviously a massive improvement. I mean, I will say for this part two, my form still was just a little bit sloppy. But there was no excuse there. I was just I guess my mental game and my physical game just wasn't all there. But I'll get it back eventually. But there we go. I can finally put that one to rest. Thank you, Lord. And I'm glad that I was finally able to do a proper review of the Hyroad. So there is your obvious comparison. I can now play the lanes a whole hell of a lot straighter because my speed, my rev rate, and all like my power is 10 times better than it was in part one. Whereas in part one, you could see I had to play pretty I had to play the ball somewhere around. I don't know. I didn't look back at that video too well, but I had to play a little bit more left than I did in this video because obviously back then my speed was a lot slower because my power wasn't all that great, so, and I was giving the ball too much time to hook as a result, whereas here I was giving it decent speed, somewhere between 15 and 16 miles per hour, so I could play the lanes a whole lot straighter, but my rev rate was still not that great. I'm still in the low 400s in the high 300s. So yeah, it's obviously because of my release. I still kind of got to work on that, but Yeah, the ball still holds up pretty nicely, I will say. I mean, as for that drilling layout, I don't really like it. I don't know what I was thinking when I got that ball drilled that way. But I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, obviously you can see the scores that I got, but it's just not my thing. And the high road, honestly, uh, I don't know. It's just not for me. It's a good ball, but it's just not for me personally. Um, Based on what I saw, I mean, game 1 and 2, I think it was, where I was playing the lanes with power, and it worked pretty well. And from that, I can honestly tell you that that ball probably wouldn't last you late in the block. That ball is probably good for only the opening games of like a block of like God knows how many games you play. And then the part of the reason I say that is because in game 3, you guys could see I tried to hook a pretty big portion of the lane, and it was just difficult. That ball, you can't really play too deep with it. I mean, part of the reason why I struggled was obviously because of my low rev rate, but even though I tried to compensate by slowing down my speed, uh, it was just difficult. And part of that reason was because of that stupid layout that I put on the ball and because of my rev rate. So, yeah, I mean, maybe the ball might work better for you than it did for me, but honestly, the high road is not for me. I learned through this video, through making this video, that it's just not going to work for me, and because of that, I'm actually going to put this high road up to be sold. So one of you is going to get the chance to own this high road, and don't you worry, yeah, it's been used, but after I filmed that video, I took it to my pro shop guy. He threw it in the oven to have it baked and to get all the oil out of there, and he told me there was no oil in there. It was practically brand new. And yes, I had not used that ball quite a lot because obviously you guys can see all the videos that I made after that. I've got a ton of bowling balls stashed in my closet, which I'm trying to get rid of now. And this is going to be one of them. And obviously, another thing that I had him do was I had him basically completely restore that cover stock so that thing actually hooks. As you could see in that video, I actually had that done before that whole, I had him sand the bowling ball and have like use one of those grit pads to add more surface to the ball, so that way the ball would actually hook more. I had him do that, so yeah, one of you is going to get this bowling ball. So yeah, it's basically restored. I mean, it does have a few little nicks and scratches, but above all else, the ball is basically good to go. So there you guys go. That was the high road video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I am relieved that I can finally put this one to bed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll catch you guys in the next one. I am Frank the Tank. Thank you for watching.